And we're live from KCAA Radio, 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. You're listening to Highlight One Radio, the show where each week we highlight one musical artist that we believe deserves to be in the spotlight. I am your host, DJ71.
And I am the co-host, Luis the MC, and I am super excited to get into this show, Frank. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm happy to be here. It's our inaugural show, episode 110. No, that's 10. We're at episode 1.
Point zero.
Call me back in 9 weeks. So we have an exciting show today. We actually have a guy here that is part of my musical journey. We started music at the same time, and I'm really grateful to bring him on the show. Please welcome Jacob Cross.
And a round of applause. Whoa.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Jacob, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty great.
Hello, Jacob. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
And if you guys happen to be near a computer, you can watch the stream and get a view of Jacob himself with his long, beautiful, luscious locks.
Yes, just go to kcaaradio.com, click on the big box on the screen, and you'll see a video pop up, and you'll see all of our faces here.
So, and right on the very top, before we move any further, I just want to make sure everyone who happens to be catching in right now knows where to find Jacob. You can go on his Instagram at Jacob Cross music _official on Instagram, and his YouTube channel is awesome. I love his his lyric videos on YouTube. Really cool. I'm super excited to get into this interview.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. So we have a few questions for you before we get into your new release, Jacob.
Go for it.
Explain to listeners, who is Jacob Cross?
Jacob Cross is this dork from Long Beach, California, who makes alt-rock music. And I work completely solo. I don't have a band, and I just emulate the sound of having a full rock band into my music because that's just the style I like to make.
I love it. I love it. So I'm pretty familiar with your music. I've been a fan for a long time. I want to know a little bit about your workflow. You dabbled in a little bit how you emulate an entire rock band all by yourself. And I can think of a few great artists that do the same thing. Trent Reznor coming to mind, and Tame Impala, two big ones there. So we know that it works. You know, you can do a whole rock band on yourself by yourself in the studio. So tell us a little bit about your workflow.
So my workflow usually starts on piano. That's my main instrument. Awesome. I taught myself how to play that back in high school. And then from there, I just write out songs, write lyrics, and I just complete the song on the piano by itself. And from there, I then use my own DAW. My personal one is FL Studio. And I use multiple plugins for drums, guitars, bass, acoustic guitars if needed, synths, strings, and I just put that all in and just work on it constantly. I devote a lot of time into all of my music, and I just get it sounding as realistic as humanly possible for my budget, which isn't a high budget, but I put in enough money so that's the way I can get the sound nice and realistic.
You've done it successfully, too. The audience hasn't, well, hopefully the audience has heard some of it so far, but the audience is going to be in for a treat because it sounds like it came out of a Hollywood studio.
Thank you very much. That's a huge compliment.
So, on a really serious note, would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
100 duck-sized horses, because a giant duck, I don't know if I could take it. But the small ones, I have a chance if I have a baseball bat, and if I'm geared up, I could probably take them.
100 duck-sized horses? My goodness. But think about it just for a second. If you trip or stumble while you're in the process of kicking, you're just going to get completely consumed by a wave of duck horses.
But if you think about oh, sorry, go ahead.
If this is like a scenario where I'm like Batman and you give me prep time, I can do it. If this is just on the fly, I might trip, but just give me prep time and I can handle it.
I would just pet them all.
This man has no enemies.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get into more music talk here. Throwing it way back, what was the first song you ever remember loving?
Loving? Oh, Man.
Like your first favorite song.
Oh, wow. Let's see. Probably the first one I can think of is probably "Meant to Live" by Switchfoot.
Oh,
Do you remember Switchfoot back in the
I
day?
remember. I only know one song by Switchfoot, and it is called "Meant to Live."
Yeah.
And I did not just learn about it just now either. I do know that song. It's in my personal library, and I love it to pieces. And it is. We were pretty little. I mean, I don't think it was brand new when I first heard it.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
was like, I was little when I first heard it.
I don't even know when it came out, but I remember I was tiny when I first heard it because back then I was just always listening to like Christian alternative music, and Switchfoot always came up because they were like walking that line of being somewhat Christian alternative, but mostly just alternative. And yeah, I just remember that song really standing out.
Okay. And moving forward, what artists are you listening to now?
Many, but if I had to name like a top 5, is that cool?
That's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine.
Okay, so top 5 would probably be Story of the Year. They are a pretty popular alt rock band. I Prevail. They're really big on the scene right now, and I'm a huge fan of their music.
Okay.
Mayday Parade. I wasn't a huge fan of them back in the day, but I've gotten really into their music more recently in the past couple of years. Who else would I put on there? Breaking Benjamin. They're probably my
Oh.
all-time favorite band. I just always go back to them. And then lastly is a much smaller artist named Nate Wants to Battle. And he's from YouTube. And he started out doing covers. And recently he's been doing original music. And I'm obsessed with his music.
Now,
It's definitely an inspiration.
Is he small in viewers or small in stature?
Small in viewers. But even then when I say that, it's like 8 million views.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
not
okay.
even that small. It's just
He's
smaller.
known for covering video game music, if I remember
Ooh.
correctly.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We have one more question, get to know you a little bit before we get into your release here. All music stuff aside, what other stuff are you into? It can't just be music, right?
Especially living in Long Beach.
That would be ideal because then I would be spending more time on music. But I devote a lot of time to in my own personal free time. I like to write to do writing. I write like
Ooh.
short stories, stuff like that.
Creative
None of it's
writing.
public. It's just personal stuff I like to work on. But I'm also big on gaming. I do PC gaming, PlayStation, Switch, Xbox, all that stuff. I'm always a fan of gaming, and that's just definitely something I do with my friends and my brothers and whatnot all the time.
Awesome. So now let's get to the big one here. You released an album, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
I
good.
did.
We have the right guest. Just making sure. We didn't get to that part yet, so I wasn't sure. Now, tell us a little bit about the name of the album.
So the name of the album is Everywhere But Where I Want to Be. And I came up with the idea for the name because I was just in a rut. I'd say about a year ago. It lasted for about a year and a half. I was just in this place where I felt like my life wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't bad per se. I was just kind of stuck in between. I was literally everywhere but where I wanted to be. Because where I wanted to be was I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be making more money. I wanted to, have better relationships with people. But instead I was kind of in between. So that's where the inspiration came from because I was just in that rut is the best way I can put it.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks our age can resonate with that, especially a year and a half, 2 years ago, as we're coming out of, I'm not going to say it, but, what happened.
one thing. We don't talk about it. It's like frat parties.
Yeah.
That was not a lampshade on my head. That was not. We
Yeah.
got robbed of like 2 years of our 20s, so that's kind of a bummer. But I
Yeah, I
mean, we
think
came out of
everyone
it,
just
so I can't
rewind.
complain too much. But I digress. Okay, so we have the first song on the list here, and ironically, it's also called "Everywhere But Where I Want to Be." So is this song seems to be of some significance even within the album of a priority? So explain a little bit about that real quick.
Yeah, so I wanted the first song to really kind of like beat upside your head of like the idea of the album, which is that all of these songs are going to be about being in that rut in some way or another. Sometimes it's about your emotions, just not like, you're not feeling what you feel like you should feel in certain situations, feeling like you're in between relationships, feeling like you're in between jobs, feel like you wish you could go back in time, feeling like you wish you could go forward. So this song really starts off with the idea of that realization of when it first happens, like, oh no, I am not where I want to be.
Okay, without further ado, should we dive in? Oh, you had one thing to add, Lewis? No?
No, let's hop in.
Let's hop in.
Yeah, everything's fine, I swear. And I know deep down that you care. But I'm not the same person I once was. I've been to hell and back. Let's go! I'm not the person I once was. Maybe I never was. I've never known who I will be or what I will become. Sick and tired of chasing after that light, of trying to steer through the fog that is my life. I'm gonna crash, it is only a matter of time, of time. Oh, yeah, everything's fine, I swear. And I know deep down that you care. But I'm not the same person I once was. I've been to hell and back again. Oh, I'm still trying to hold on to everything I had before I fall any deeper inside of my own head. Sick and tired of having to play this game. I roll the dice, but it always just feels the same. I'm running fast, but it feels like I'm stuck in place. Yeah, everything's fine, I swear. And I know deep down that you care. But I'm not the same person I once was. I've been to hell and back. But everything's fine, I swear. And I am so glad you still care. I just find myself ending up everywhere but where I want to be. I promise I'm fine, I swear. And I know deep down that you care. I just can't accept I'm not who I was. I've been to hell and back. No, I am not fine, I swear. But I am so glad you still care. I'm just on myself ending up everywhere but where I want to be. Fine, I swear. And I know I'm beyond repair, but I can't give up till I find myself ending up where I want to be now. Where I want to be now.
Wow.
Holy smokes! Wowzers!
Um,
You know, I just gotta say, as someone who is like very surface level understanding of like music producing stuff, it is impossible for me to wrap my head around the fact that you were able to make this song, all those guitar riffs, and there's like a small solo in there on a keyboard with plugins.
Yep.
the
It's
detail,
taking
too.
some magic to do.
I've noticed a lot of up and coming artists, the music will sound like a little bit empty. Maybe there's like that little tidbit that they didn't add that like a real pro would add. They're all there. That's my favorite part about your music is it's thorough.
Yeah, it's not.
That's my
flammable.
biggest problem, honestly, is that I want to add so much that the music just gets drowned. You know, and I have to start taking things out.
Less can be more, but there's still like you have the perfect amount of detail. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Uh,
I
so
appreciate it a lot.
on this song, what was your process in actually working on this song? Because it's the title song of the title album, right? So like,
Yeah.
how long did it take you to make this song, and what was your process writing the lyrics and coming up with the melodies? And I think during the last two courses, there's like a chord shift to like a higher octave that kind of reminds me of like an anime theme song of like motivation, kind of. That was pretty interesting. Can you talk about that?
On the anime note, actually, if you take this song and increase the speed by like 20%, it sounds like an anime opening. Not even kidding. It's so funny. But I always
definitely have
do
to try
a
that.
chord change. Not a chord change, but it's raising the key by 1 at the end of the song. If I really want to like make a point, because it just makes the song sound so much more powerful. So I always do that for like the title song, just because it makes it stand out. But in terms of my process for writing songs, especially like this one, honestly, I just hum to myself in my free time. I'm just doing stuff, and that main lyric of "Everything's fine, I swear," I just hummed that to myself one day. And I was like, "That's a nice lyric," and then I just build on that. And a lot of times I'll take inspiration from other artists. So I'll listen to a song and be like, I want my song to have that vibe. So I will take note of chords, I'll take note of BPM, I'll take note of like guitars and like the style, the beat, the pace, the lyrical style, and I'll just take notes and just be inspired by that. And that's what I do per song.
This song could be described by one meme that I've seen. I'm not kidding. It's the dog sitting at the counter while everything's on fire. It says, "This is fine." You know that one?
I
Yeah.
know that one. Yeah. Yeah, I think definitely our listeners could probably
soundtrack
pick up
for a
on pick up on some of those echoes of influences from other artists in this song particularly. I can pick out a few for sure.
We've got another song here. It is called "Feels the Same." Do you want to give us a little intro before we play it?
This one's one of my favorite ones that I produced personally, just because it has a completely different sound. I feel like it stands out compared to the album, and I really wanted it to stand out because the message is very different. But I feel like a lot of people can resonate to a certain extent. So
Okay. Well, without further ado, again, here we go.
No, I cannot feel the pain. I'm numb from thoughts in my brain. Wish that I could just change. Memories all float away.
Everything is dark from the moment that I hit the ground. Can't remember much, no, I don't remember falling down. 1 second it was you and me, now all I see is so empty. I didn't notice all the bleeding. Must have hit my head a little harder than imagined. Woke up and no longer felt all the magic. I don't know if there's a way to rewind tapes to a better day. It all just feels the same.
It all just feels the same. It all just feels
Like
I'm headed for disaster, but I can't feel the pain. I'm numb from what's destroyed my thoughts inside my brain. It all just feels the
same when I focus and I look at you. I do my best, but all I'm seeing's right through. Transparency apparently makes it hard for me to mend all the faults and cracks I grew. I wish that glass you were made of was like a mirror. Maybe I could see my flaws just a little clearer. I don't know if there's a way to feel this pain in a healthy way. It all just feels the same.
I'm headed for disaster, but I can't feel the pain. I'm numb from what's destroyed my thoughts inside my brain. I've tried to make it better, but I'm stuck in my ways. Just feels like nothing matters and I cannot change. It all just feels the same and nothing about it will change if we go our separate ways. This catastrophe of our love will destroy all in its wake, and yet nothing about it will change even if you chose to stay. I can't promise that my feelings will be anything but great. It all just feels the same. It almost feels like I'm headed for disaster, but I can't feel the pain. My heart starts beating faster, wishing that I could just feels the same. It all just feels the same. It all just feels the can't feel the pain and numb from thoughts in my brain. Wish that I could just change memories all float away. Can't feel the pain and numb from thoughts in my brain. Wish that I could just change memories all float away. Can't feel the pain and numb from thoughts in my brain. Wish that I could just change. It all just feels the same.
That outro I like, the last little lingering vocal.
Oof, that was good. That was good. And guys, just a reminder, that was Jacob Cross Feels the Same.
Jacob Cross feels the same. Now, Jacob, we're getting a little bit of ambient noise from you at the moment.
You were kind of cutting out. I didn't really hear you.
Oh, I think we're good now. Can you hear
Okay,
me now?
there we go.
There we go. Can you hear me now? Good.
Yep.
Sounded like there was a small airplane flying around your room for a moment.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah, that song was pretty. You know what? When I'm hearing that song, okay, a little bit of behind the scenes. Right when you first released this album, Frank and I were in our living room. We lived together, but Frank and I, in a friendly way. We were in our living room and we listened to a good majority of the album on our home sound system.
about a 48-inch tall speaker.
Yeah.
We were blasting it, and it was awesome. And my favorite thing about this song is you managed to highlight the best of both singers of Linkin Park. It sounds kind of weird, but hear me out. Hear me out. You have like two personas in that song. You have the chorus where you're like singing, and then you're almost like it's almost like a poetry slam in the verse. It seems like, and it totally reminds me of In the End. It's different. It's not in a copycat way. It's just
The
an
alt
interesting
rock
way to
rap,
describe it. Yeah,
right?
it's like I love when songs have. I'd almost describe it as like a rap, and I love it when songs are able to combine multiple styles into one, which is really hard to do without butchering it, and you didn't butcher it. So good job.
Thank you. Linkin Park was definitely a huge inspiration. I Prevail as well. They do the same thing.
Oh,
They
okay.
have the screaming guy and the singing guy. And the screaming guy does a lot of rap parts as well. And yeah, I would call it a rap part, even though I can't rap. I can sing fast. I can, poetry slam fast. I don't think I can rap. If you put me on a hip hop track, I don't think I would do well. But in this instance, I feel like I managed to pull it off somehow.
Can you say panda 20 times in a row?
Panda, 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 panda.
Oh
panda,
my
panda.
god.
He's a rapper!
Oh.
No, I was gonna bring that up that maybe it was a part of the music that I've listened to in the past, but there was a couple like drops at the end of the verse leading into chorus where I'm thinking, man, I really feel like he could put like a deep throat growl like right here, like and I think you did kind of touch into that a little bit on a couple of them, right?
Yeah, I've been working on that because I want to get that kind of growl sound, but it's so hard on your voice, and I have like zero vocal training. This is all just me, just trying everything by myself, like piano, production, singing. This is all just me.
Yeah, it's my
And,
understanding you have what we call a YouTube degree.
Yeah, exactly.
A YouTube audio engineering degree.
Yep.
You
I
can
learned
learn
everything from YouTube.
You can learn just about anything through YouTube nowadays. And if you spend the time that you would spend in a school, you can learn the same things. If you spend it, not looking at memes. Well, I looked at memes more in class than I spent learning in class. So, I mean, just balance it out. And
Maybe that's something we could look forward to in a future release by Jacob Cross. You can find him on YouTube, Instagram, all over the place. Some throat growling and yeah. I'm imagining it's going to be pretty difficult to actually get a clean recording of that because if I understand correctly, you record everything at home. You don't go to like an actual studio, like big equipment, which you would assume based on the quality of the recording, right?
I record everything at home. You are correct. I do not put it in the budget to go out and like record at like a proper studio. I went on Amazon Marketplace and just bought a noise canceling like frame, and I got a decent mic, and I just set it up in my room. Everything is made right here where I'm sitting.
a good example for musicians that are getting started and think they need to go to a real quote unquote studio. You don't. You need $100, $200 microphone and a lot of training and skill, and train yourself on YouTube. That's the best part about modern technology. Anyone with a $200 laptop and a $200 software can make a song. And I know of certain songs, especially in the EDM world, that are literal hits that everyone's heard that were made by a kid on their laptop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know of
So-
several rap hits that are made on, gel phones.
Penta,
Where someone holding a microphone up to the gel phone. So hopefully we don't
Yeah.
see that from you in the future, Jacob. But you want to move into our next
Yeah.
song?
So we're moving into the best I can, and I liked this one. I previewed everything, and this is one of my favorites. Do you have anything to say before we begin, Jacob?
This one took me a long time to perfect. This one probably took me the longest to settle on because I just couldn't get the lyrics the way I wanted them to. I couldn't get the sound. But after a long time, this one took, I'd say, a year to finish writing
Oh,
completely.
wow.
Not even production, just writing. It took a long time. So I hope you like it.
Song, The
Okay.
Best I Can, artist Jacob Cross.
Lie to myself, put on my mask. Under pressure, it starts to crack. But I pretend there's nothing wrong.
No weakness and no flaws. No boys don't cry is their message. Feeling strength for rite of passage. But they will never know the cost of all that I have lost. And yet I long for someone who's out there who will help to comfort me when I have no more strength to believe in myself and all my dreams.
In waking nights, I am aligned by things said only in my mind. And as those words linger inside,
Wounds still fester and rot. Try to not let it affect me as the waves pull me underneath. Cause every time I can't let go, I drown in the undertow. I long for someone who's out there who will help to comfort me when I have no more strength to believe in myself and all my dreams. Someone who will never judge me, who will come to take my hand, to hold me when I lose balance, support me so I can stand. La 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 la. Is there anybody out there? Is there anyone who cares? Is there someone who is willing to hold me when I get scared? I know that I'm far from perfect, but I'm doing the best I can. And I'm trying to learn I'm worth it, though things never go as planned. I'm still doing the best I can. I am I can.
I think that might be my favorite so far.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was The Best I Can by Jacob Cross. Wow. You know what? I just want to start off by saying big respect to you for putting Undertow in a song. That is a huge reference to anyone who is a fan of metalcore or alt rock, right?
Went right over my
I'm
head.
so glad you noticed that. Like, I did that on purpose.
Yeah, Numb by Linkin Park, Undertow by Tool, like huge.
You gotta include Undertow. You gotta include water. You gotta include fire. You gotta include Undertow.
So you said before we started playing this song that it took you about a year to write. Tell me about that. Tell me about why it took so long, and then what kind of kicked you like through the process. What got you through it?
The biggest thing for me was I couldn't decide what the song was even about because the verses were written from a completely different perspective. The original idea was the idea that all different kinds of people go through their own struggles in life, but at the end of the day, we're all people. And so I really wanted to point that like boys go through struggles, girls go through struggles, all different races and genders go through struggles. But then it just wasn't sitting with me, right? Because it didn't fit with the message I was going for. I felt like it just wasn't landing. And I had this idea for the chorus being more of a love song kind of vibe, but the song was too heavy for that. So I was kind of in a crossroads between those two ideas. And then I kind of mashed them together into the final result, which is kind of like a person who's just stuck in one spot and not sure where to go, where their life is going, feeling like very what's the word? They just feel like that they're not enough. And then sometimes you need to find someone who's willing to be there to pick you up. So even if like you're not at your best, you can at least do the best you can and then have people help you. That's what I landed on. And it took a long time to finally get that.
Yeah, you had to go through a little self-therapy to get to this song, huh?
Yeah, it took a while.
That's the great thing about music is that it lets you reflect and figure out your own emotions and put them out on paper and then on on sound waves and
spread it to other people. You put it, and this is something that I wanted to wait until we played a couple songs before I brought it up. But there's like a juxtaposition in your music that's somewhere where if you just read the lyrics on paper, if you just looked at a paper and read the lyrics, it's almost like doomerism. Like it can get you down, but more to a song is just the text, right? There's emotion behind the song, and like we talked about with how you would raise a song into another key, or little intricacies that you can use to shift the emotion of a song into aspirational is what it seems like a lot of your music is. Like, I come from this place, but I'm headed towards aspiration. You could correct me if I'm wrong about this, but if I am, tell me if that resonates with you and how you do that.
That is 100% what I do for, I'd say, 90% of my songs. 90% of them, I write the lyrics to be pretty dark because not trying to bring people down, but all of my music is kind of like a diary of my own personal experiences. Times where I felt like I wouldn't be able to do something or wasn't going to be able to accomplish something. Times when I was feeling numb. And it sounds really sad, but the reason I do that is because I like to just vent all of my negative feelings onto a page, so that's the way I personally can feel happy. And then adding the music to it and making it more upbeat and like powerful, it gives us a strong message, where it's like, hey, you can feel this way, but you're not alone. And that's the biggest thing is like when you feel sad, you feel like you're the only person in the world who's sad. You feel like the entire world is happy and you're by yourself.
Tunnel vision.
But when you hear dark music or sad music, you're like, oh, I am not the only one that feels that way. I definitely want people to like know that. And especially with my music where it's like, hey, if this kid in Long Beach, can be sad and get through it, then I can too.
Yeah, awesome. And you know what? I just want to make sure that you're not doing this on purpose, just to mess with me. You said you felt numb, which is like in the song you're talking about Undertow, and then you said it's a diary of your experiences, and we were just off mic.
It sounded like a smoother version of Diary of, not like version, but like a smoother style that reminded me of Diary of
Yeah,
Jane.
the chorus portion.
Oh yeah,
And that's Breaking Benjamin, right?
Breaking Benjamin's a huge inspiration.
You,
so yeah,
you
I'm
mentioned
sure you'll
that,
hear
and I was saying that to Lewis. I'm like, it sounds a little bit like the chorus reminds me of Diary of Jane. And I'm like, he just said he loves Breaking Benjamin. I'm like, there's probably some inspiration there, so that's good.
a lot of little references in my music.
Is
That's
it
good.
just melted into your psyche, or are you leaving breadcrumbs for the viewers?
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of breadcrumbs, but honestly, like the majority of my time when I'm like, getting inspired, I'm just playing a game and just blasting, metal alt rock music in my ears just for hours, just to get ideas. And so it's kind of just burned into my brain at this point.
It's parallel processing.
Exactly.
All right, you want to move on to the next song?
Now, we are getting down to our last 13 minutes here. So we're going to fit in one good one here. We wanted to fit in 7, but we had some good dialogue here. So, Jacob, which one would you like to play next? We have the ones from
We
the list
gotta
here.
do the fan favorite. We gotta do Arrowhead.
Arrowhead. Okay, for those who don't know,
Everyone-
all 3 of the people on this stream have lived in or currently live in Lake Arrowhead. So, Rim
Yep.
Forest. It's like the poor Lake Arrowhead, but
And if I could just give a little bit of homework to anyone. Oh, sorry. I have audio through my glasses. My bad.
oh, he has smart glasses. I start playing music. We can figure out.
A little bit of homework to anyone who happens to be listening. Check Jacob Cross out at Instagram, YouTube, wherever you can find music, and listen to Station 30. That's probably one of my favorite songs on this album that we're not going to be able to play today, but is a wonderful song.
We'll highlight it at some
Maybe
point.
next time. Maybe
Yeah.
next time.
Okay, so without further ado, here's Arrowhead by Jacob Cross.
Take me back to all those days when I felt loved. Take me back to all of them. Why does growing up have to involve forgetting all those times when we were in the sun, having so much fun? Take me back to all those days when things felt right, when my life was still so bright. I know that there's nothing I can do to have that feeling again, but I can still dream as I fall asleep. Take me back to all those days in summer, when the days stretched on so long, when we were just kids before it all just fell apart. It all fell apart. Where did it all go wrong? Take me back to all those days when I felt joy, when I was a little boy. Why'd I have to learn that all the things I loved would all just vanish as my childhood died? before my eyes. Take me back to all those days in summer, to my friends who are long gone, when we were just kids and we were so invincible, so invincible. Where did all go wrong? How did all go wrong? Take me back to Arrowhead. Take me back to the lake in summer. Take me back to Arrowhead. Take me back to the lake in summer. Take me back to Arrowhead. Take me back to that lake in summer, when we were just kids before my heart was tainted black. Please just take me back, back where I belong. Oh, back where I belong. Oh, back where I belong. Back where I belong. Oh, take me back to Arrowhead. Take me back to the lake in summer. Take me back to all those days. Take me back to all of them.
That brings back memories of home.
Yeah, what a
where
beautiful song.
where
That
I
was
never left home, but
beautiful song. That was Arrowhead by
Thank you.
Jacob Cross. Arrowhead by Jacob Cross.
it's out now. This album's out now, right?
Yeah,
Everywhere.
it's
Pretty
It
much.
came out July 28th.
Wonderful, wonderful. So all these songs you've heard, if you look up Jacob Cross, Everywhere But Where I Want to Be, they're all on the same album. You have an hour.
Yep.
It's about 45 minutes of
48
music, I think.
minutes,
48
yeah.
minutes. So you have, I mean, your morning commute is going to be much better tomorrow.
They're all conveniently on his YouTube channel as well as lyric
Yes.
videos. Beautiful, beautiful. Have it on in the background.
He does a good job with the video production, too.
Mhm.
So we are coming up
Thank you.
on the end of the show, Jacob. So what are some final things you want to tell everyone?
Pitch what you got.
Sales pitch.
Well, first off, I definitely have more music planned. I'm constantly working on music. I have too many projects. It's a problem. I need help. So I'll definitely be back with more stuff. I definitely want to go back and remaster my last album, so that's probably next up. But when it comes to this album, I'm just super grateful to everyone who supported. I'm super grateful for all the feedback. Sometimes when I'm working on my music, it feels like I'm doing it for nothing because it's never going to get heard. That's kind of what Waiting at Station 30 is about. Just feeling like, oh, my stuff, what's the point? You know, no one's going to listen to it. So it's really nice to get opportunities like this to be able to be like, hey, you know, my music is doing something, you know. And if at least like a handful of people if feel like the music resonates with them, then I feel like my job is done. The only thing left to do is just to keep making music. And to anyone who is depressed or, you know, sad or going through a hard time, just know that there's a lot of people who are in the same boat or who have been in the same boat, and they're always willing to be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Speeds close to home.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. Beautifully said, Jacob.
Thank you.
So we want to thank you, Jacob, for coming on to Highlight One Radio. The first episode, you are our first guest. You are starting a legacy. We're really excited to have you back on when your next release comes out, which I've heard a little detail. We don't have time to go into it now, but
What a superstar.
we're going to
Thank
end
you, thank you.
here. Instead of our outro song, we are going to end with waiting on station 30
Give you guys a little
Oh.
taste of
because
that.
that's one of our favorites. That's Lewis's favorite too. So we are going to throw that on. You've been listening to Highlight One Radio on KCAA Radio, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. You can listen every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on KCAA. You can also listen on kcaaradio.com if you're not local to the Inland Empire. So, one last thing to quote the great Father John Reed, who is one of my best friends. If no one's told you this week that they love you, let us be the first. Have a good one.
I am still waiting at station 30 for the train to come, but I can't keep waiting at station 30 for my life to start. My mind gets dragged down by all this weight. The more that it gives, the more it breaks, and soon it will pull me under. Looked inward, yes, I don't have what it takes. I'm looking inside and I don't have what it takes. I'm laying down and I am still waiting at station 30 for the train to come, but I can't keep waiting at station 30 for my life to start. I used to think that I was so great, and people told me I do great things, but life's never what it seems. Doubt washes over my skin, it's poisoning. For fear it covers my mouth so I can't scream. I am still waiting at station 30 for the train to come, but I can't keep waiting at station 30 for my life to start. I lay down on the tracks, wishing that I could be more, but the world pulls me down and will not let me board. I am still waiting at station 30, but the train will come.